Hi, I'm HarroSIN, and in this tutorial we're going to go over on how to download, compile, and run the Half-Life 2 source code in order to create our own mod. First thing we're going to need is Steam, obviously, to load Half-Life 2 and to create a mod with. Visual Studio Net 2003 is what we're going to need to compile the source code. Let me tell you right now that Notepad will not compile the source code, and you need Visual Studio Net 2003. Although Notepad is adequate for writing C++ files, it is not C++ compiling. So, first thing that we're going to do is click here and open Steam. Now, I already have the source SDK installed, which we're going to need to download the source code. But if you don't, you can go to Tools, right-click, and go to Install Game. It'll download some files that are needed, and after that you're ready to go. So double-click on Source SDK. You should get a screen that looks just like this. Also, the first time you run it, it's going to copy some files from the cache files over, so you could start mapping or whatever you're going to do. But what we're going to do is create a mod. So we double-click on this, and it'll bring up the Create a Mod wizard. You have four options here. The first one is Modify Half-Life 2 Single Player. This is what we're going to use. Modify Half-Life 2 Multiplayer is modifying the Half-Life 2 Deathmatch code. Start a mod from scratch is basically the single player and multiplayer code together with some example files on how to create a mod that is nothing like Half-Life, or no relation to it. Source code only is just the source code only for the source engine. But we don't need to worry about that since we're going to modify the Half-Life 2 single player for this tutorial, and we'll click Next. Here we're going to enter a directory for our source code files that are going to go. So we'll enter in example mod. In the mod name, this is the folder that's going to go under in source mods. This is not your mod's name, but rather a folder to keep everything organized, so we'll keep the same at example mod. Now, when we click Next, it's going to copy all the source files over from the source mod cache. So we'll just wait for this to finish. After that, all these files should go into our example mod folder where all our C++ files are. You're going to need to keep this folder here and not move it anywhere, because this is very important. These are all the files that are going to be used to compile our mod. Alright, now that's finished copying, we can click Next. The README file here tells some stuff about the source code, like release notes. We don't need to worry about that, so we'll just click Finish. Alright, our example mod is all there, so if we click on Games, you'll notice that it's not here because Steam needs to be refreshed first, so we'll just exit it for now and come back to it later. Now that the first part is done, we'll go into the location of our example mod C++ source code files, which is C drive example mod, like we put in the wizard. We're going to the source. We have two Visual Studio.net project files here. We have everything, which compiles basically everything here, including the Linux SDK, all that stuff, utilities like Face Closer if you want to change that stuff, but we're not going to worry about that. We want a mod for Half-Life 2, so we'll open up the game SDK. Let's load all the stuff within what we call the client DLL, which is going to be used for storing mod information that Half-Life 2 can read. We have two solutions here. We have, or rather should I say two projects here. We have the client, which is the source engine. We have HL, which is basically the game itself. Alright. We don't need to change anything right now out of the box, so we're going to go to Build Solution, or we can press F7. This is going to build everything into one client DLL. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes since we clicked Compile, so everything should be compiled correctly, and it should have created a client DLL and a server.dll in our source mods folder. So we can go ahead and exit the program, and we'll go into source mods. Here's the folder, and here we have 3 important folders along with 3 important files. In our bin we have client DLL, which controls the client side, which is everything that we compiled in here into one DLL that Half-Life 2 can read. We don't have to worry about server DLL because we're not running a server, nor are we playing Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. Resource has everything about the client scheme. You could change all the colors, text, font throughout your Half-Life 2 mod. Scripts has NPC information, weapon, details and information. Another vital file here we have is game info. Here we could change the name of the mod as it appears in the Steam list. Right now it's the default Half-Life 2 mod, but that's kind of boring, so we'll change it to our example mod. Alright, now that that's finished, we can go ahead and open Steam. And now that everything is compiled correctly and placed into the source mods folder, we should have a new item on our list that is called our example mod. So basically this is a brand new working Half-Life 2 mod, similar to Counter-Strike but without all that jazz. So I'm going to go ahead here and set some launch options just to test it. I already have some predefined ones, some parameters here. First one is console, used to bypass the startup map, which we don't need to look at. The width and the height is 640 by 480, and it's in a small window just used for testing. This is what I use. So close that and we could run it. Preparing to launch our example mod, and here we go. Skip the loading AVI. Now, as you can see here, it looks exactly like Half-Life 2. That's because we have not added any custom content yet. We can modify all that through the resource files, through the script files, through the actual coding itself, which is what you're going to use most of the time. We don't have any chapters because we haven't defined any or created any maps. But what we're going to do for now is just test to see that the mod works. So we'll type in map SDK shader examples, and okay. Alright, looks like it's done loading, and as you can see here, we have a fully working Half-Life 2 mod. Everything about it seems correct, just ignore that. It's a problem with the map, not the mod. Give ourselves all the weapons if we want. Everything seems to be working correctly. Now all that's left to do, well, not all, but to add some content to our mod, such as mapping, new weapons, new NPCs, new textures, whatever you want. And maybe one day you'll create a great mod like Counter-Strike or Day of Defeat. So, hope that you enjoyed this tutorial.